Air Force Museum in Christchurch has become home to one of the recently retired Hercules aircraft. It's the only one out of the fleet of 5 that's being preserved.
Katie Stevenson got a look inside to hear about what's needed before it goes on public display.
We are very lucky to be sitting here in the Hercules and to be joined by Brett Marshall from the Air Force Museum. Brett, thank you so much for joining us. This is very exciting, isn't it? Talk to me about what we're doing here.
Well, this here is the C-130H Hercules that landed for the last time here in the grounds at the Air Force Museum after 6 years of service to the nation. So this entered service in 1965, has flown 33,000 flying hours, so that if it got airborne tomorrow, it would land in 3 years, 10 months' time, and it's really been one of the workhorses of our country's Air Force. It's been involved in so much. Every disaster, every conflict that New Zealand's been involved in, the Hercules has been there since 1965. First year that it arrived, it started flying to Antarctica in support of our Antarctic program, and even last year it went to Antarctica on an emergency dash to bring someone home, this very aircraft. During our Canterbury earthquakes, this was one of the first aircraft to bring the search and rescue teams. After that, during the tragedy of Erebus, it went there and sadly brought some of the bodies home, but it's taken our troops from Afghanistan to East Timor in the first Gulf War, etc. Everywhere it's gone there to help as well.
And Brett, with the plane landing, talk about what that experience was like.
That was actually, although it was a small point in time, it was actually years in the undertaking. We had the Royal Australian Air Force initially a year and a half ago come out and survey the airfield to check the strength of the airfield. They measured everything, and then there was a huge planning process to make sure that it was safe to do so. We needed the right conditions, and we needed the wind to be going in the right angle. The aircraft actually landed in 273 metres, so there was well over 700 metres length available to them. But we also engaged with the community. We couldn't tell them exactly when it was happening because it was the Air Force's operation, not the museum's. So but we did engage to say it would be happening, because although it was safe, it was also unusual to see a large, beautiful aircraft flying over your house. But the public engagement's been fantastic.
People seemed quite excited when there was a lot of chatter of seeing it come in to land, wasn't there?
Oh, there was, and trying to find out when it was, and we were really interested to find out, because for us as well, we didn't know until shortly before when it was actually going to happen. And I know I personally had always dreamed of the day to watch land, and it feels still a bit surreal to actually have it here, to have this amazing addition to our collection that we want to share with the New Zealand public. So it is quite emotional, and to be sitting with you here now and talking about it.
And you have your own personal connection to this too, which is quite special. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, actually 30 years ago today, I was on C-130 Hercules conversion course, learning to fly this very aircraft. And this aircraft here, it was the last one I flew before I left Number 40 Squadron. So it's got a personal attachment for me personally. And it's those personal attachments and the stories of the men and women behind the aircraft that are most important. 60 years of service, there's been literally thousands and thousands of men and women that have maintained the aircraft, operated the aircraft, and the lives it's impacted, from the Boxing Day tsunamis, for example. I mentioned the Canterbury earthquakes and everything.
In Christchurch, what happens next though?
Great question, because the most important thing for us now is to build its forever home. We've started a fundraising campaign. I just want to acknowledge the council who have put a grant up which is currently up for public submission for $5 million, which is approximately a third of the cost, and now we want to get the rest of the funding completed. This aircraft and the P3 Orion aircraft, which is currently over in Number 3 hangar, we want to put them in an exhibition hall that will be open to the public, so every New Zealander can see these wonderful aircraft and find out about their stories forever. $10 million at $2 per New Zealander, and I'm not sure, a lot of people will probably be looking at this at the moment and saying, well, this is an interesting article, but there might be one or two that are watching that think, actually, I want to help. I want to contribute. I actually have a personal connection with someone that flew these, or if they want to go to our website and donate, the sooner we raise the money, the sooner we can get these beautiful national heroes and two of our country's most important taonga on display for the public to enjoy forever.
And you are hoping, though, to have a couple of open days hopefully coming up, maybe give people a little bit of a taste of what they could see when these have their home?
Absolutely. So we're looking at the beginning of April. The dates we're currently working on are the 11th to the 15th of April, where people will be able to come and look at the Hercules before it actually has to go into long-term storage while we await the building of our new exhibition hall. We talk a lot in our museum about the wider, or the spirit of our museum that flows through through it. And this object, now an artefact, speaks of that. Our museums, though, the heart of it is the stories. We have over 4,800 names on our Roll of Honour who have died while serving in our Air Force or other Commonwealth Air Forces, all New Zealanders. Average age is 24, and it's their story and the story of the men and women that have served on this aircraft and all of our aircraft that we want to tell, and our wonderful servicemen and women that today wear the uniform to do whatever the government wants them to do.
Thank you so much for your time, Brett. We really appreciate it. And if you want to get involved and help the Hercules find its forever home, head to the Air Force Museum website for more information.